Hi guys, sorry about the video. I had some complications, with the plug-in system. It's already controlled now and everything's good. Let's continue with the emphasis. I left off, but it was 19 minutes, 20 minutes in from the other video, so we're gonna go with this one. I'm making, let me see, 30-minute videos, that 30 to 40, right? Okay, so on here, so we got about 10 to 20 minutes left here. All right, so we left off on pause for emphasis, right? Excuse me. Pause for emphasis, it says often a dramatic one. That is one that precedes or follows a statement, a question delivered with a measure of intensity, right? And it says such a pause gives the audience opportunity to reflect on what has just been said, or it creates expectancy for what is to follow. They are not the same, right? So what is this actually saying then, right? It says, decide which is the appropriate pause to or what method to use, but keep in mind that the pauses for emphasis should be limited to trust significant statements. Otherwise, the value of those statements will be lost. So what they're just saying here is just that whenever a person does a pause for emphasis, right, what they need to do, it's like a dramatic one. It's like when something is said, right? Like say, for example, I say, okay, I'm going to make a other part 3 video 3 series for stuttering. And then see the silence, I would pause, that's what they're, saying here. So pausing for emphasis is that you would pause, after you said something, so that way the person would get it, get the gist of what's been said, So how does that help in stuttering? That? Well, when you, for example, pausing for emphasis, in stuttering is this right here. Like, say that you, say for example, that you do the breath control, right? You inhale, and then you exhale out, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. You would pause, say pause and think what to do next, because you're putting emphasis, pausing for emphasis on not the audience, but yourself for training, for the training purposes, right? Pausing for emphasis will mean like, do it first, right? Inhale, and then after that, exhale, that, and then what you do then, think, think inside, okay, next is what is the speaking out with the airflow, How does that help? Because it tells your brain what to do. You're controlling your brain system. I'm offering you here other information that you're going to be learning, other videos. I'm not going to tell you everything what this is about because it's too much. I'm going to flood you. It's like a seed planted in the ground. You don't go and pour a bucket of water, right? No, you just, put some water, let the sun hit it, and it starts to grow. That's what I'm doing with you right now. So pausing for emphasis on that is thinking after you do the task what to do next. Okay? So now let's go with pausing for a circumstance require of it. Like, say for example, I just said it right now. I go look at pausing when circumstance require of it. I just showed you it right now. It's like in Interruptions may also occasionally require that you pause in your speech. The noise of a passing truck or a crying child may require an interruption in conversation with a house, say for example, with somebody speaking, right? If a disturbance at somewhere, right, whenever you're talking, say like if you're talking to somebody at the store, and there's, like a kid come by and starts crying right there, or maybe an ambulance, that here in New York, it's a lot of ambulances. I'm talking to somebody and then all of a sudden I have to pause, and let that thing go by, or fire department come by. Well, see, they got to go by, right? That's their job. They're helping the community. But imagine when you're talking to somebody, right? That would be pausing when circumstances require it. You see? So if a disturbance at a place, right, where you're at, it's best that that you pause, because even if you're talking, you know what, the person ain't gonna hear you because of what's happening at the same time, right? So pausing for a circumstance require of it, meaning like, say, for example, how does this help in stuttering? How does this help in stuttering? Say, for example, then, you're at ordering food, that's a good example right there. Ordering food at a hamburger stand, you go up there to the counter, she goes, okay, how can I help you? What do you want to order? You start, you start stammering, you just stop. She ain't gonna understand you. It's gonna be hard for you anyways, right? Just stop, Think about what you gotta do. Inhale air, and then speak it. Yeah, I like to order a hamburger special. And then you start stuttering again, right? Stop, She ain't gonna understand you anyways. It's a waste of time talking, right? Stop, then what? Inhale again. Cheese on it, large Coke, and then I want large fries as well. Make it large special, hamburger special large. See what I mean? So it's pause when circumstance require of it. So when you're talking and you start, stammering, stuttering, pause, start over and apply it. But before you go out, remember what you got to do. Remember, have fluency. Fluency is when you're at home, that practicing. That even if it takes you 50 times to do it, you will learn how to do it. That's how I stopped. I learned how to do it just over and over and over and over again. In fact, in my church, right, when they gave me a assignment, to give, our discourses were 5 minutes, and we had to read a passage of what? Say Genesis chapter 1, verses 1 through 12. You know what I mean? I have to go over and over on it. Over and over on it. Pause when circumstance require of it, but not pausing during the 5 minutes, right? If I had to, well, so what? I had to, man. So that's what you got. So that's what that means. Pause when circumstance require of it. If you don't catch it all right now, at the conclusion, when we do the conclusion, I'm gonna coherent everything on this, okay? All right. Now remember, this right here is gonna be stopping in 10 to 20 minutes. All right, because it's continuance from the other part, right? The other video, which is part 3 here, on appropriate pausing, okay? Excuse me. Pause to allow for response, okay? So what does that mean? What does pause to allow for response mean? Okay? It says, although you may be giving, say, if you're in school, a talk, because here, I'm going to give you assignments to give, discourses here. You know that? Yeah. So if I say, if you're giving a talk, you know what? You're going to be giving a talk means a discourse, a speech. It's going to help you. You know what I mean? So that's in the joining. This is just a preview, you know? And I'm going to explain everything, what we're going to be doing in there, okay? Excuse me. It says, start over. Although you may be giving a talk with no provision for formal audience participation, right? It is important to allow the audience to respond, not audibly, but mentally. If you pose a question that should make your audience think, but then you fail to pause significantly, much of the value of those questions will be lost. So what they're saying is pause to allow for response. Like, say, for example, how does this help in stuttering? Well, say that you go to, say, somewhere that you want to get in, you know. Are you guys open, you know? And then after that, you know, what you go knock on the window. Say, it could be anything, the gym, class, whatever. Is it open now? Or you go there, it's 8 o'clock, right? You're supposed to be there at 8 o'clock, and you see it's 8:05, and they're not open yet. You don't see it open, you know. So you go there, and because it's locked, the door, and you knock on there, and then they open it, and then pause to allow for responses. Well, hey, and you start stammering, you know. What are you gonna do? Pause, inhale, speak out, hey, are you guys open? And then allow for, you know, response. And that's what that is, you know. For stammering, for stuttering here, but this right here, you know, to allow for a response is that if you're giving a speech on stage, right? And then you ask a question to the audience. Whenever you do this, say for example, you're on stage and you go, hey, so what do you think would be the right thing to do if a person wanted to argue with you? You would pause, right? That's it. And then wait for about 3 seconds, right? And then, you know, because you're not asking them questions for them to answer, you're asking a question for the audience to think, answer. You know what I mean? Again, you're asking the audience to think, answer. Now you see this right here, what I did right here, right? This was physically fading away. You know, I'll be teaching you this as well, you know. Okay, so you want to ask a question up there, but give like 3 seconds for them to digest what you said from the question. Like, say for example, if somebody you ask a question like this, say, hey, if somebody wanted to fight with you, what would you do if you're a spiritual person? You would count in your mind 1001, 1002, 1003, and then give the answer. That's what this is here, you know, pause to allow for response. Okay? Now, say for example, now for the conclusion, right? How to do this, you know? Okay? How do we, you know, learn how to do appropriate pausing? Right? What is the techniques that we want to use for, you know, the stuttering, right? Give special attention to punctuation when you read aloud. That's the first thing. So for stuttering, right, to give special attention for punctuation whenever you're speaking, and also to when you're reading, when you stutter, you want to give that special attention, you know. Think about what you have to do, you know that? Number 2, listen carefully to well-qualified speakers and observe where they pause and for how long. Like, you could look at me, right? You know, Just stare at your instructor, and then you could see how I do it. You know, that's what you need to do. This is, okay, number one, again, how do you do it? The appropriate pausing. Give attention to punctuation when you read out loud. Or when you, for example, I'll show you, how it's done right now, okay? Listen carefully to qualified speakers, like for myself, And how that you would do that, say, whenever you're reading, and you're asking a question on stage, you would give the audience, time to think about it, 3 seconds. Like I say, okay, what would you do if somebody tried to fight you and you're a spiritual person? What could you think about? What principles in the Bible could you think about and not fight? Well, that where it said right there, right? In the verse, put away your arms, spiritual man does not fight. Now, how does this help in stuttering, though? How does this help in, you learned, the public speaking way, right? Because, see, I'm teaching you public speaking with the public speaking and controlling your stuttering at the same time. How do you do this whenever you want to, stutter, but you're supposed to what? You're supposed to give attention to punctuation, right? How do you do that? Again, pause, inhale air, let it fill up the lungs and the diaphragm and come up, talking out slowly, exhaling, right? Talking out slowly, and then pause, see what I mean? Just, have fluency thinking before doing something, right? And using fading away. What was fading away? Remember? Fading away was, in the other chapter, was, fading away was at the end of the sentence, right? Like, say, for example, at the end of the sentences, fading away is at, like, the 2 last words, right? Or even 3, you slow down, lower tone, and then just, say it, like whispering it down. That's it. That's fading away. And in the class, right, that we're in, I'm going to show you more techniques of that, how to really pursue that. And, there's a lot more to go, okay? After you say something that you really want others to remember, pause to let it sink in, right? So remember what that was right there, letting it sink in, pause to let it sink in. And how do you do that? Well, right now I just showed you. Just don't say nothing after you say something. That's it. Let it sink, let it silence go for 3 seconds. See right there? I showed you right there. Just do that as an example. And how that you do everything of this right here is that you have to just, pause and breathe in. That's all. Breathe in. And then let it out slowly and fading away at the end of the sentence. That's all you got to do. Okay? And then in conversation, invite others to express their thoughts and then listen to their reply. Let them finish. Do not interrupt them. The more you listen and be quiet and just hear, that you're practicing pausing already. You see? That's what you want to do. Converse with people. Continue, don't stop. Probably at first it can be hard, about a year. I'll say most people will stop just about a year. That sometimes it might take 2 years, but by a year or even 6 months, I've seen it happen. This person, boom, she took it, to the heart, you know what I mean? And she finished in 6 months, meaning She was talking. You know what I mean? You know, every month, you know what? She was progressing every month, you know? And anyways, here's the 20 minutes here. Okay, I'm going to stop right here. Okay, I'm going to go to the next video, okay? I'll see you guys in the next video.